I don't wanna be friends. 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 Can we start over again? Cause I don't wanna be friends.
Hello everyone, and thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of Sophisticated Sunday. I'm going to be your reader / co-host for today, Negzo, and I love black people.
And I am Priestess Oshun Funke, and I'm not to be fucked with.
So we're going to be taking a different approach to Sophisticated Sunday today. We hope that we can entertain you all with the segments that we're about to show. Really, we're going to be talking about camaraderie in the black community today. And I want to focus on camaraderie rather than dysfunction, because we know that there is social dysfunction within our community, and we know that there's economic, financial, sexual dysfunction within the community. But instead, let's talk about how it is that we can better organize ourselves, and by highlighting some recent events that have happened within the black community that are inspiring conversations around our own social organization and how it is that we mesh together. So I wanted to begin the conversation by talking about the role that priests and priestesses play in the year 2019, with a particular emphasis on the social justice movements that are happening today. I am very much inspired anytime I see people protesting, especially black people protesting against police violence, and then I see, 2 or 3 black women that are outside praying. Some of them may be waving sage in front of the police officers' faces, anointing people's heads, making sure that there's milk to be poured in people's eyes just in case they get tear gas. All of those are responsibilities of priests and priestesses in the community. I also feel like we need to be on the front lines of those sorts of social justice movements when we can. But I don't hear enough especially on YouTube. There seems to be no conversation around what it is that a priest or a priestess is supposed to do when we're thinking about black upliftment and black solidarity. So what do you think the role of a priest or a priestess is in helping to better organize ourselves during these tough times?
Well, I think that the role of a priest or a priestess is the same that it always has been, which is to serve and shepherd the community. I think that where we lose sight of that, or where the haziness comes in, is with the fact that these are occult traditions. And because they are being reintroduced to us in mass, people feel like, oh, this is secret. You don't need to know what it is that I know. You don't need to know what it is that I do. You just need to believe that I can do it. And when you have a problem, come see me and I'll fix it. That community aspect, I think, is has yet to be fully developed. And I'm really happy that you are bringing this to light and that we are having this discussion, because priests and priestesses pray. That is our job. That is what we do. And we pray for the people, and we pray for the people because we know that because of our training, because of our initiation, because of our authorization and bloodline, that our prayers will be received. And we know that we are able to make real and measurable changes in the lives of those that we serve. And so the role of a priest or a priestess is to shepherd, is to keep people on their path, to put them on their path, to offer them some protection as they move along their path. That is the role of a priest. And whatever that looks like in whatever the financial and political climate is in any given area.
And so something I'm thinking about is what role could I play in these social justice movements? Like, what skills do I have, and how do those skills help fill in the gaps of weakness that the community is trying to fix? And so I haven't quite figured that out just yet, because obviously I haven't sat down with enough social justice warriors to figure out what their needs are. However, because I see so many horrendous events playing out in the media that are viciously hurting our community, I can't help but to, just pray from a distance. But one thing that I do know in voodoo is that we don't pray, we work. But this is a conundrum for me because I'm like, well, what type of work can I do?
I mean, it's limitless though. If we were as priests and priestesses globally and especially stateside to align ourselves with social justice movements, we could offer protection for the people who are on the front lines. We could offer services to increase the stealthiness of their missions. We could divine and find out what's the likelihood of success if we take this route versus another? What are the consequences for such actions? Priests and priestesses are definitely a necessary part of any social movement if you plan for it to be successful. And all we have to do is think about the Haitian Revolution. Were it not for the Mambos and the Hugans and all of the the priests and priestesses that worked in that combined effort, Haiti would not have been the first free African nation post colonialism.
I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. It's just that there's so few legitimate priests and priestesses in the U.S.
Well, I'm hoping that is...
that we change that.
I'm hoping that we change that. And I'm hoping that, like I said, that the priests and priestesses, who are really capable and willing of organizing are just in the shadows and not that they don't exist.
For those of you, I mean, that some of the ideas that you said are inspiring me to think about how it is that we can use divination to figure out who's an informant from the other side, who is masquerading themselves to be an ally, but also trying to take critical information and give it to our enemies. Because we know that anytime an African American person has a lot of influence and they can create social change, the FBI is going to launch an investigation against them, and we may not
an assassination plot.
And we think it's a conspiracy up until 30, 40 years, and they unseal documents, and then we're like, oh, and 2 generations have passed, and they're like, oh, did you know that Malcolm X was being investigated by the FBI? Which was just rumored back then, but we have it confirmed now. And so it would definitely give people a more strengthened sense of security, because they would at least know who to fuck with and who not to fuck with. Yeah. And they would know when they're being surveilled, and they could also get an issue invisibility oil from you so that they can remain in secret with what they're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the least of things. An oil, like we can go to work, we can go to work.
A wild pig, a horse.
Whatever, a water buffalo, goddammit, whatever we need. Yeah.
Okay, how can we build a tighter bond with our community through ancestral service and ancestral veneration?
Well, these African religious traditions are community based, and the ancestors are a part of our community, always have been. They are a part of every African community. If you go overseas, the ancestors are remembered. The ancestors are worshipped, venerated. They have parties and festivals and parades for ancestors. They even do that in Mexico. You know what I mean? So the ancestors are a vital part of the community. We must always remember that it is at the hem of their garments that we stand, and it is the path that they paved with their footsteps that we walk on, and so the only reason you and I are here now using this technology in this beautiful space that I own, talking about this right now, is because my grandmother cleaned white people's toilets. You know what I'm saying? So that I didn't have to, literally. So the ancestors, we must always remember the ancestors, and they have to be a part of every movement that we have.
Hello, everyone, and thank you all for tuning into Black Spectrum Network.
Click the subscribe button and hit the bell button to get the latest updates on this channel.
Visit www.blackspectrumnetwork.com to book a private reading with one of us.
Bonjour, I'm Pastor Dr. Quintari Shakir, otherwise known as Negrezo. Good mentorship is incredibly hard to find. Here on YouTube, you have lone witches, fake-ass psychics, and all these other people that are going to lead you to nowhere. But with me, you can get one-on-one mentorship by going to www.blackspectrumnetwork.com.
It's going nowhere. If you don't know where you've been, you will never get where you're trying to go. Period.
So what I hear you saying is that these religions are already community based.
Yes.
We, as a fragmented American community, need to be introduced to these community based practices and re-educated through these community based practices so that we can become a community.
Absolutely.
That's what I hear you saying.
That's what I said.
Okay. So should we start using our magic to help superheroes like the black attorneys who helped encourage Amber Geiger's guilty verdict?
I already do. If there's something that's going on in the media and I find out about it, I will send prayers, I will light a candle, I will do whatever I feel led to do. I think we need to start doing that en masse. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think that, you know, we could have seen a change in the White House already if only we had decided. You know what I'm saying? I think the minute, I was waiting, honestly, the minute that Donald Trump called Haiti a shithole, I was just waiting for him to break an ankle or something. You know, I think that we need to stop acting so powerless. You know, we need to just stop acting so powerless.
I wonder what had a stronger magical effect. What the Hougans and Mambos did down in Haiti, or what those 50 witches did to hex him when he was first put in office. Which one had a more powerful effect?
They probably all work together. All things work for the good of those who love the Lord. Ashe.
Well, I think that, you know, one of the things that I've noticed with ancestral service and ancestral veneration is that it radicalizes people and it puts them in contact with the collective consciousness, which further radicalizes you. Because you can't, if I see what you see, if I feel what you feel, if I think what you think, when something happens, when bottom Gene is shot, I feel that. And when you pray for him, I feel those prayers, and then I'm inclined to pray. But some people are in our community are so disconnected from their spirit that they're not being active participants. And even if you can't be out on the front lines protesting and doing these meetings, you can send up a prayer. You can still participate. We encourage you all to get the Ancestral Life Path reading so that you all can just get started with that, and that you can be more involved. You can learn how to light that black candle to hex someone, or light that white candle to bless someone.
Or light a blue candle to bring peace to a situation. Purple to protect. I mean, yeah.
All right, so we're about to get into our video segments. I'm going to play a video for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to play it for you all as well. I want to see what you all's reaction is going to be. And for those of you that are watching live, make sure that you all watch the videos too. So let me get it.
Do you need to put the clip, the link in there for people who might have recently joined?
I can do it right from this one. Right here. So I'm putting a link in here for the people that have just joined. I just put the link. I want you all to go ahead and watch that video with us. And we're about to watch it now. Oops. Oh, shoot. Well, 1 second, y'all. There we go.
I didn't know. I've got some money, lucky.
You can get my plate number. Shit! Fuck, man. Shit! Don't you fucking run that fucking
Wait, she in there wrecking shit down. Can't miss this.
Get out the way of this shit.
Grab her. What the fuck? Grab her.
Get out here! Get up! Get out here! Get out!
Macy. Macy, shake it, shake it up, shake it up. Shake it and mace the shit out of his ass. Shake him. It's cool, I got the whole thing on camera. Y'all going down. Y'all going down. I got this shit on camera. I got y'all. Y'all cool, y'all cool. Y'all going down. Go ahead, cause I ain't got shit to do with it. Go ahead. Silk, I don't. Nigga, y'all messing with the wrong ones. Silk. Go ahead, yo. We ain't grabbing gas from here. They're in trouble.
So, what are your first thoughts? What are you all's first thoughts on live that watched it? What are your...
I am appalled. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. There are just so many things going through my mind because we all have stopped to get gas, but I'm thinking about the fact, that these women were unprotected. They didn't have male escorts with them. And, there's plenty of times where I leave the house, and I don't have my man with me. So they can't be blamed for that. You should be able to go out into the streets by yourself. But I think it was unfortunate because in that video, I didn't see any men standing around besides the ones who worked at the gas station. I think that those men are not men. I cannot believe that they're still drawing breath, honestly. I mean, I think that they should have been dealt with by the community, I mean, I think that I think somebody should have been waiting on them as they were getting in their cars to go home that evening, in a pickup truck with pit bulls and bicycle chains. I can't imagine how that went unanswered. I mean, you tell me what has been the community response because I'm not familiar with it, but that definitely calls for action.
The community response is Exxon canceled their contract with the gas station. The men were served warrants for their arrest. Initially, they weren't served any warrants because the police said that it wasn't a domestic dispute and that they didn't see it themselves. But my friend Brandon Rice and other people in the community that are very prominent out there, I think that's in Pittsburgh, I think. But either way, they protested. And they also found out those men own multiple gas stations and restaurants within that community. My first reaction was...
They should all be being boycotted. Like, shut the fuck down.
They are.
I'm talking about all of their businesses.
They're boycotting all of their businesses. Exxon canceled their contract, but Exxon was like, all we do, we're not responsible. But anyway, that being said, I felt that those men should have been castrated. I wasn't surprised because I know that society hates black women. Mm-hmm. And I know that outside of black women loving themselves the most, I would say black men come a close second. But even though black women are still the most hated. But it didn't surprise me that someone from outside of our community would do that to women and try to treat them as though they are animals. But I almost felt they were projecting. I almost felt that they were projecting their own sense of inadequacy onto those women. Like you said, they really aren't men. I don't even want to get into the patriarchal elements of it, where you have these men assisting each other
in beating women. And they were helping each other beat women. Not one of them tried to pull the other off.
Right.
They are fucking animals.
And then they stood there. Some of them would stand there, and they would stand there for a few minutes, and then when the girls were getting back up, they would proceed to attack them. So it wasn't like they were thinking about how to de-escalate the situation. They wanted to just maintain that level of violence.
But I also think that it needs to be noted that these women were not behaving very ladylike. And what I mean by that is, they kept going back in. They kept going back in like they wanted to continue the fight. And that makes me question, not to blame the victim in any way, but I'm questioning the psyche, I guess, of a woman who is rearing up to fight a man repeatedly. I think that speaks to perhaps, not having a conversation. My father actually taught me, and I'm fortunate enough to have grown up with both my parents in the home, and I know that makes a difference on a person's worldview. But my father taught me from the time I was a little girl, you don't ever hit a man. Don't hit a man. Don't do that. Of course, men are not supposed to hit women, and all boys are raised that way. But I don't know that that's a conversation.
Bonjour, I'm Pastor Dr. Quintari Shakir, otherwise known as Negrezo. If you can't get enough of our content for as little as $2 a month, you can get these and other videos at least 1 week ahead of their YouTube release date. That's www.patreon.com/Black Spectrum Network.
Greetings, I am Reverend Priestess Oshun Funke. I would like to invite you personally to book an ancestral life path reading with me. If you're interested in learning how to work with your ancestors, how to make appropriate offerings, or how to set up your ancestor altar, I can help you. Please visit www.blackspectrumnetwork.com. That people have with women, and I have seen it a lot where women who are raised by women and solely raised by women, I think maybe that's something that's not communicated to them. But you never hit a man the way my father explained it to me, because you don't know how that man is going to react. Everybody is raised differently, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you are going to be hit by a man. He also taught me never to get between two men fighting. Don't ever try to break up a fight. These are just little things that I learned from my father. And so it pains me because I bet no one ever had a conversation like that with those women. And it doesn't mean that they deserve to have that happen to them. But I would not have gone back. I would not have gone back in that store. Were it me, I would not have done that. I think it's unfortunate because they just opened themselves up to more abuse, more attacks.
I agree. I think what goes on in the psyche of someone that does that, I feel that those women knew that they didn't have any protection from men. They probably lived their lives where men weren't stepping in to protect them. And I feel that they have been socialized to fight for themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of black women have to do that because who supports you all? You know what I'm saying? And so it makes a lot of sense to me that if you lived your life without protection, mm-hmm. or you're getting your ass pummeled and you're thinking about, well, who can I call up to finish these people off for something I can't do? You're just like, well, shit, nobody. I've got to do it myself. And I'll be damned if I'm humiliated because they've already tried it. But they did open themselves up to more abuse and humiliation, more of what they were trying to fight against.
Yeah.
So who should have helped these men?
Who should have helped the men?
Who in our community should have helped them?
The women or the men?
I mean, sorry. Who should have helped these women? I'm sorry, I'm asking the wrong question.
Any fucking body. Anybody who is melanated and draws breath. Anyone who was aware of the situation. I think that it is a sad state of affairs that there wasn't even a man in the video. You know, I mean, we can't condemn the whole city of Pittsburgh because no men happened to be walking by at that moment. But I'm just saying, though, like, how could this happen and not a man in sight? You know, I'm speechless, actually. I've never seen anything like that. I'm just trying to imagine myself observing something like that. You know, I don't know that I could have just sat and watched. I think I would have had to grab a wine bottle off the shelf or something.
I think I would have as well.
I just don't, wow. I've never seen anything like that.
Why I'm worried about what you'll have to say. What you'll have to say. When I confess to you that I'm feeling some type of way. Some type of way. If I could do it all over, just start again. Baby, I would have never been just your friend. If I could start all over, get a second chance, I would have listened to my heart and made you my man. Cause I don't wanna be friends. 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 Can we start